Second, an overview of the science of spirit. The science of spirit is the last science of absolute science, where the absolute achieves its goal, the complete knowledge of itself as spirit. Spirit is the absolute, the only reality, the only thing that exists, and it is absolutely one. Spirit is the unity of logic and nature, of thought and matter, and contains them dissolved in itself, in its unity. The science of spirit, therefore, simply studies the process of the one spirit's actualization, whereby it attains full self-knowledge and freedom. This process involves 3 stages. Subjective spirit, which studies the soul becoming spirit and free will. Objective spirit, which studies the actualization of spirit's free will in the state and its objective institutions. And absolute spirit, which studies art, religion, and philosophy, the sphere where spirit achieves its highest goal of absolute knowledge and freedom, as the idea, self-knowing, actual, and supremely free. Absolute spirit is the unity of subjective and objective spirit, the unity of the concept of freedom and the reality of freedom, the unity of the concept, inner subject, and reality, outer object, is what Hegel calls, in honor of Plato, the idea, which is absolute freedom, all reality, and the only reality, which religion calls God. Since there is nothing but spirit, the science of spirit will study spirit in its various guises or shapes. Spirit as soul, as consciousness, as mind, as legal, moral, and political person, subject, and citizen, and finally spirit as artist, saint, and sage, or wise man, woman. So, the process of spirit's self-actualization and ascent to freedom begins with the soul, with spirit in the immediate shape of soul. The key to the whole science lies in a proper understanding of soul. Let's first recall that nature, the idea outside of itself, in contradiction with the unity of logic, had to overcome its externality, which it did in mechanics, physics, and organics, ending with the soul and the return to unity. And nature is the theater of the individual, not the universal or genus. But the genus, universal or concept, as the one true reality, must exist. Hence the advance to spirit, where the universal first exists in the soul as thinking. So, thinking, the concept, the universal, is there from the get-go, as the very essence of the soul and spirit. It only has to come forth and reveal itself as the one true, absolute reality. Now the soul, therefore, is the truth of nature, what nature has turned out to be. So, nature and matter have no truth. As Hegel says, nature has vanished. What alone now exists and is real is the soul. The soul thus contains everything that is in itself. It is infinite and exhausts all reality. Since there is nothing but itself, the soul, i.e. spirit as soul, implicitly knows that the object, the objective world, nature, is really itself. And it is precisely this fact which drives it on and is behind its need, its effort to overcome, idealize, and negate the object, other, not I, and realize its infinity and freedom. Ideality is another key to the whole science of spirit. Ideality and reality are inseparable. Ideality is the ideality of reality. So, spirit, ideality, needs nature, reality, to exist. Spirit is the ideality of nature, meaning, as we just said, that nature has no real, independent existence. Nature is ideal, not real. Nature is a moment, an aspect of spirit. Is spirit in a different form? It is visible spirit. Nature is not only dependent on spirit, but, as Hegel says, spirit is in fact the creator of nature. Hence, nature is not an other, something alien to spirit, to you, which would limit spirit, make it finite and unfree. Spirit has and sees only itself in nature. Thus, spirit is absolutely free and unlimited. So, the science of spirit attains its goal, absolute freedom, by means of the gradual idealization and overcoming of nature, by the reduction of the other, the object, to itself. Compare Jesus' words, quote, "I have overcome the world, and so will you." A third key to understanding the science is the method of the Upei concept. The concept, says Hegel, is everything. And its three moments are universality, particularity, and individuality, as well as being, essence, and the concept. The method thus moves from immediacy, universality, being, to mediation and difference, particularity, essence, relation, to unity and synthesis as a mediated immediacy, individuality, concept, concrete universality. The concept informs all of spirit's content and determinations. For example, on page 26, quote, "As soul, spirit has the form of abstract universality. As consciousness, that of particularization, and as spirit or mind, that of individuality," end quote. The method of the Upei concept is the key to understanding absolute science and the organization of all its parts and subsections. For example, on the highest level, logic is the universal, being, immediacy. Nature, the particular, essence, difference. And spirit, the individual, the concept. In the science of spirit, subjective spirit is the universal, being. Objective spirit, the particular, essence. Absolute spirit, the individual, the concept. And in subjective spirit, anthropology is the universal, being. Phenomenology, the particular, essence. Psychology, the individual, the concept. This logical ballet informs all the major sections of the science. The ballet starts with abstract universality or immediacy prior to determinacy, then the determining or particularizing of the universal, the moment of essence-difference relation, then the return to the beginning, but now as concrete fulfilled universality, i.e. individuality and the concept, which now on a higher level of determinacy of the concept's unfolding begins afresh as the new immediacy and universality. For example, anthropology ends with the third moment, the individual, the concept, as consciousness, which begins phenomenology as the immediate abstract universal that is to receive the determinations of self-consciousness and reason. Indeed, consciousness itself begins with sense consciousness, advancing to perception, then intellect, then the concept as self-consciousness. In psychology's theoretical mind, we likewise begin with sense intuition, followed by representation, and ending with thought, the concrete universal or concept. In ethical life, we begin with the family, the natural immediate universality, love, then civil society, and particularity, essence, difference, a plurality of families and individuals, then the state, individuality and the concept, and lastly, in art, religion, and philosophy, we move from the senses in art to representation in religion up to thought in philosophy and logic. And in art itself, we similarly move from the sensory external to the poetic inner, that is, from architecture to sculpture to painting to music to poetry. And the same is true of religion and philosophy, as we'll see.